What's up, everybody? It is Saturday, or what we call here Saturday Night Live, and it's Pop and Politics. I'm KJ. Let me introduce you to my co-host. Of course, we have Yana. Yana is back tonight from after feeling under the weather, and Shelly E. How are you ladies doing tonight?
Great.
Doing well.
Good. All right. As I always say, like, share, and subscribe to our channel. We're here on YouTube and we're also on Rumble. You can listen to us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify under the name Pop and Politics. Folks, we love our chat. I see a bunch of you are already in the chat. Shout out to you all. Also, we actually shout out our super chat. So it's the best way to get your voice heard in the conversation and to show you love conservative content. So this is not just a podcast. This is a movement of God-fearing, truth-seeking, America-loving people that value freedom. Stand with us. Subscribe so we can amplify this rallying call for freedom. All right. And I do see a bunch of you in the chat. I want to ask you guys, because I know we have a mixed crowd generally in our audience. If you are a MAGA if you are MAGA, I want you to just post there MAGA. If you're more so Christian conservative, post that Christian conservative in the chat. I just want to know also if we have any mama bears out there, you're really your issues are talking about getting gender ideology out of schools, no boys wrestling or in our girls sports. Put out there mama bear. I want to know who we got out there tonight. MAGA, Christian conservatives, or mama bears. Let us know. Also, our 2A. If that's your issue, for this election, it was Second Amendment rights. Put that in there as well. I want to see who we have. Okay. I see we got MAGA. We got mama bears. All right. So yes, God is good. Absolutely. I was curious about that. Make sure you hit that like button. Hit the like button. We need that. That does help to amplify our voice here on YouTube. All right. So we're going to get right into this. Lots to talk about tonight. First, I want to start out with Eric Adams. Eric Adams was on The View this week. You guys, that's New York City Mayor Eric Adams. And he was pushing back against those hens in support of Trump. Take a look at this clip. This is clip number 2.
So you heard us talking about RFK Jr. being the head of HHS. What do you think about that appointment?
The executives will nominate and bring in those who they believe will move their vision forward. And everything from the fluoride issue, I believe we should have fluoride in the water based on what my experts are telling me. But let's be clear, we have a real problem with our food in our country. And we need to watch what we're feeding our children. And
what is the major problem, do you think?
Too much hormones. Many people know my, I almost lost my sight with diabetes. Mm-hmm. The doctor told me I would be blind in a year. I was going to lose my fingers and toes. And it was my food. It wasn't my DNA. It was my dinner.
But JFK Jr. RFK Jr. ate some pork and now he has a brain worm. Is he the person that should be in charge of that?
Yeah, well, let's
food?
Right. And let's understand this also. In all of these agencies, there are thousands of employees and experts that understand these topics, and there are rules, there are regulations.
Mayor, a lot of them want to resign. When they see some of the people that are going to be on top, I think there's going to be a mass exodus of people who have the institutional knowledge and the institutional memory and DOD at HHS. Who wants to work under our cook?
And let me respond to that. If we love our country, then no one individual should take us away from our mission.
Yes.
If you dedicated your life to a particular place, I dedicated my life to law enforcement. So if a new commissioner came in that I disagreed with, I was not going to say, I'm going to resign. Let's love the country. Let's love our cities. Let's get away from the rhetoric of the professionalism that we know, those are experts in this. They're going to look at his proposal, do a real analysis, and make these decisions. It happens every day.
Shouldn't he have
Mayor,
a background at
well,
least? He should have some kind of background in this type of thing.
Let me just,
Yeah.
okay, so Mayor, when Trump returns to office, he will actually have a lot of power with the Republican-controlled Senate and House. He suggested at times using the National Guard to target the enemy within, and key members of his last administration called him a fascist. But you've defended him. Can you explain?
No, I defended the rhetoric that we're using across our country and what our children are listening to and what we're doing. We've reached a point in this country where we no longer want to engage in conversation. They were even calling him Hitler. That's an insult.
That was only his vice president.
That was an insult. That was an insult to the millions of Jews and others who died. We know what Hitler did. And what I said to our country, when I'm on the streets talking to my young people who are protesting on college campuses, wearing Hamas signs and calling for the destructions of groups, I said, we have to bring down this rhetoric. We have to start engaging in conversation. You know, Obama said it right, and I agree. This is not the divided state. This is the United States. We're the greatest country on the globe, and people are watching us and name calling.
But do you think Trump should have brought down the rhetoric? Because
everybody should.
Well, let's start at the top then, because maybe it trickles down.
Everybody should. Everybody should.
Okay. Lots to unpack there. Lots to unpack. I want to start off with you, Shelley. I mean, did you see how flat Anna Navarro's little joke she made about, oh, they just called the vice president Hitler, and nobody even laughed at her because it's not funny. What are your thoughts in regards to that exchange?
Look, Anna Navarro's, her comment were really irrelevant to the whole point of what Eric Adams was saying. You can disagree with Eric Adams and his overall political outlook. You can disagree or like him for other reasons. My point is this: I don't have a problem with anybody changing his or her opinion. Typically speaking, that's what you call learning. The problem I have is when people change their opinions in quote unquote the wrong direction, when it's harmful. We want people to change in the right direction when it's something they're advocating that's good, and particularly in this case beneficial for America. All of those women on that panel, or I would say all of them, maybe Sarah, give or take a little bit, all of them they're like deer in the headlight. All they see is Trump, and they can't move. They can't think. He literally consumes their mind. They're not hearing anything else, no matter how reasonable that other thing is. They are like this.
Yeah, I want to get your thoughts on this, Yana, because not so much of him actually, taking up for Trump, but I want to talk about what he said. So he basically was talking about in the beginning, RFK Jr. Of course, we know Trump nominated him as the HHS secretary. And The View was trying to push back against that nomination, saying he's not ready for that. He's not the person to do that. What are your thoughts there?
I mean, first of all, I've been off in the air for about a week since the election, but watching these people break apart since the election, it's been amazing. Like how the left is just falling apart and how they're showing their real faces. So these women here, they're just like, they're system stooges. They're like holding on to the system, and they're so scared that someone is going to come in and somehow disrupt the system that they are defending. And that system is not good for the rest for America. And so he's talking about making America healthy again.
Right.
And they're having a problem with it. But at the same time, I'm sure these women are shopping at Whole Foods. They are buying all organic. They're avoiding all sorts of chemicals. If they have children, they're not allowing their kids eat all sorts of processed food. They have the best, I'm sure they even have, people who are preparing meals for them, some of them, or they're buying already prepared healthy meals. So, but when it's coming from Trump, when it's coming from the Republican administration, all of a sudden, no, we can't allow it. It's so hypocritical and disgusting, and they're just witches who are just they're all turning inside. They can't take it. They don't know what to do with themselves. It's disgusting.
Yeah. I agree. I totally agree. And before we move on here, I wanted to acknowledge our super chatters here. Guys, thank you so much. So we have Paul with the $5 super chat, says, love your YouTube channel. Thank you. Thank you so much. And welcome to all of our new subscribers. We really appreciate you. Thank you so much. And if you think that Mayor Adams is going to eventually turn MAGA, hit that like button. I think he is. I really do.
Let me say that. I want to say this. I want to talk to that because I want to also talk about what Anna said about the people, the exodus of expertise, if you will, or there may be, that is always a risk when you have a new administration coming in, not just in government, but almost anywhere. You may have an exodus of talent, of education, information. You may have that historical perspective. That's always a risk. The problem is that many of those people that Anna was talking about, they're not the ones that are making the decisions in the long term anyway. They are the general people, if you will, that work there. They have the information, but the people at the top who make the decisions, who put the policies into place, they are the ones that have largely ruined it over these many years. They are the ones who are really the deep state, if you will. Mm-hmm. So they are the ones that really need to go and bring in the information, not just because it's new. Everything new is not necessarily good because it's new. All change is not good change, but the information and the caliber, the expertise, if you will, of people, RFK Jr., other people that Trump has nominated, these people do have the wherewithal, if you will, to bring in and usher in good policy that's going to be beneficial for most, if not all, Americans. And to the point about the food and the processed food and all these chemicals, again, as much as the government has put out so much misinformation or information that we now know is not is harmful, it's more harmful than it does any good, then we should get rid of that. We should be ready to get rid of that. Structures, or if you will, structures and traditions should not necessarily stay in place just because they are traditions in and of themselves, particularly if they are proven to be harmful.
Absolutely. And most of all, these people should not be advocating for anything that has occurred in the last 4 years. Look what we had happen. First of all, we still have not gotten proper confirmation from these bureaucrats that they lied, that they misinformed about origins of COVID. Okay, they locked us down. They pushed these 6 feet under mask mandates and all this types of stuff with no credible data to support it. We know that, decades upon decades, years upon years of data shows that any type of aerial virus, you cannot really stop with masks. And they continue to make us do these ridiculous things, close down society for the same bureaucrats that the View hosts are advocating for. It's time to bring in someone new. Exactly. It is time. And guess what? While we were listening to these people try to lock us down and take away our rights and freedoms for things that the science didn't even back up, one person was pushing back against it, and it was RFK. And this is why it's so great that he's going to lead these institutions, because they need to be corrected. They certainly need to be corrected. I want to acknowledge our super chatter here. Teresa Raimundo with the $5 super chat says it may actually open positions up for better expertise. Exactly. That has been shut out. Besides, exactly what experience did Becerra bring to the table? I 100% agree, Teresa. Thank you so much. Also, Teresa with the $10 super chat. Thank you, Teresa. Says, good evening, ladies. You are the truth. Thank you for the job you do. Shelly E., I'm not ready to give mercy. All right.
I'm still not ready. That's right, Teresa. Still not ready.
Absolutely. Yes.
I was just going to say the only reason they're like this is because RFK is now on Trump's side.
Right.
If he was not, they would be all about it, this health movement.
Absolutely.
The health movement was the left's movement.
Mhm.
Like when I was like hanging out with all the liberal folk in DC, it was all about being healthy and going to the yoga and finding your being in the right energy, and this was the left. And
Right.
now they're against it? Like, what is going on?
They
That
don't
makes no
stand up for
sense.
anything. Exactly, Yana. They don't stand up for anything. And they try to demonize anything that they know will lessen their power. Look at the whole thing, just in that exchange we talked about. You know, he was saying how it's time to stop the rhetoric. It's time to stop calling Donald Trump fascist and Hitler and things like that. You know, also Stephen A. Smith, he called out Oprah Winfrey for doing the same thing. I think we have that clip. Yeah, take a look at this.
All these celebrities, Jennifer Lopez, Beyonce, Oprah.
If we don't show up tomorrow, it is entirely possible that we will not have the opportunity to ever cast a ballot again.
You're going to look an audience in the face and you're going to tell them that if you vote for Donald Trump, you may not ever be able to cast a vote again. Who believed that?
A lot of people
Who believed
did.
that coming from Oprah? Truly, who believed that? This is the kind of stuff that alienates an electorate, that alienates a vote or a voter. Because the freedom that you tell them they have, you try to confiscate morally by letting them know you ain't worth a damn unless you vote the way we say you should vote. Who's going to go for that in a general election with an economy rife with inflation, with over 12 million people coming across the borders, with people wondering about their dollars, the dollars that they earn, the dollars that they have in their pocket, the value of that dollar dissipating before our very eyes. But in the same breath, you're telling them that you got to take even more money out of their pocket to finance immigrants that come all across the border illegally at the behest of the Democratic Party looking to secure a voting bloc. Did you think that would work? Did you think that would work?
Perfect.
Hallelujah.
Yes. Yes, folks, we have to stand up against this. And we have been. We have been. You know, the community here, patriots like you guys who watch us, you know, us on this channel have been pushing back against their lies and misinformation for the last several years, and we cannot stop. We have to continue to push back against it, because what they tried to do during this election, they tried to scare us into voting for them. They tried to actually force us. They tricked us with these whole illegals, bringing these illegals in. They tried to trick the election system, all types of stuff. And I'm so happy people did not fall for it. I am so happy. But guess what? Trump is not falling for it either. Now he's filed a lawsuit. Have you guys been following this lawsuit that he filed against, I think it's against the media. He filed a lawsuit on Friday, vowing to bring justice to his name after years of attacks from the mainstream media. Town Hall is reporting that the incoming 47th president announced he is suing several media outlets, including the New York Times, CBS News, Penguin Random House, the Daily Beast, alleging widespread bias and defamation, $10 billion in damages for publishing defamatory material. In the lawsuit, he accused the mainstream media of defaming and disparaging him during coverage of the election, and they did it.
Yep.
If you believe they did it, hit the like button, please. And I want to get your comments there. Did they do it? Yes, they did it, or no, they didn't. They did not do it. I want you guys to comment on that in the chat. I personally agree they did. What about you, ladies? Shelley?
Of course they did. I mean, they've been defaming him for years, certainly since 2015, 2016. Of course they did. I don't know how this case is going to proceed. Of course, I mean, none of us know that, but I don't know how it's going to proceed. Even if he were not being president-elect, I don't know how fast it would go, or if it will be fast-tracked or whatever the case may be. It could be just that it might be held up for the 4 years that he's in office. I don't know, but I think it's certainly a legitimate basis for him to file this anti-defamatory lawsuit. The media, they're still after him. They're still defaming him to a degree, if you will. Yes, he's a public figure. Yes, he has been a government official and now will be again, but this has been nothing short of a witch hunt, or what do we call it now? Lawfare, whatever the word is you want to use. That's what this is, simply because they don't like that this man is standing on the principles of making America great and giving the power back to the people. They feel like they are, on a run for their power and control. Trump says, no, this is America's country. This country belongs to the people, not you all, media, and whomever else you have running behind you. I think it's a welcome thing for me. I'm glad he did it.
Yeah, I want to get your thoughts on this, Yana. Before I do want to acknowledge our super chatter here, LAPD SWAT with the $5 super chat. Thank you so much. Says, what's your opinion on the youth flying the alphabet flag at foreign embassies? So I think he's talking about the LGBT flag. I disagree with it. And I wholeheartedly disagree with it. The only flag that should fly is the American flag. And that includes classrooms. There should be no other flag, no BLM flag, no LGBT flag. Just fly the flag of the either company, if they have one, or administration.
The company, the company, the state, and the country, USA.
Absolutely. That's it. Absolutely. Not these.
It's ridiculous. To show the rest of the world that America is associated with, and this lifestyle, it's an embarrassment to the rest of the world. The rest of the world is not going to respect America if we're going to fly that flag. I'm sorry. People can do whatever they want, personally, but it shouldn't have anything to do with America and American government and the way that it presents itself to the world. It has nothing to do with that. It's a fringe. It should stay a fringe lifestyle that people have a right to engage in, but it should not be promoted around the world.
Right. Absolutely. I'm sick of it. It does not matter. This is nobody's business. We don't care. You do whatever you want in your home, in your bedroom, whatever. It should not be some type of big, I don't even know what you would call it.
Agenda or an ideology. I mean, it became an ideology, and and they're literally putting it together with the American flag. Actually, I was appalled when I went to the Statue of Liberty last year, and they have a video that they show about American history and what the Statue of Liberty stands for, and it goes from different movements. There's of course, the social justice movements and racial justice, things like that, and then it ends with the LGBT flag, and I'm like, no, you put that. Now the Statue of Liberty stands for that.
No, and I don't even like no BLM, nothing. This should not be an agenda. The only agenda would be the American agenda. We don't need all this extra stuff. It's divisive. It's Marxist. As you have said many times, Yana, it's a Marxist plan to divide us. We don't need it. You can fly whatever you want to fly outside of your house, if that's what you want to do.
But that's not what this country should stand for. This country should stand for conservative values, the way that it was founded, and that's what we should be promoting. At the same time, people, everyone has a free will. But that is not something that we're promoting. We're not promoting an alternative lifestyle. It never did any country good.
No. Okay. One more thing, KJ, about that case, the lawsuit that President Trump filed. One of the things, even if it doesn't go as quickly or however long it takes, one of the good things I think that will come out of it is that because it's a legitimate case, there's a process called discovery. And so that means both sides really have to respond with the information or whatever facts and things like that behind the scenes. So we may get to see some emails or other communications that I'm thinking that these media companies have conspired. Maybe that might come out in the whole process of this. So that could be one of the long goals as well.
And I hope so. I mean, the media, I was just thinking about all the things that they have said about Trump. That people believe, that a lot of people on the left believe, young people believe, unfortunately. Racist, anti-Semitic, homophobic, nothing that he ever was in his private life, before he became a candidate, before he became a president. He was everybody's ally. Basically, he was a businessman. He worked with everyone. He didn't care about who anyone was in terms of their race or their lifestyle. There's no evidence. There's absolutely no evidence, and they would just keep repeating and repeating it. Then the Russia collusion.
Yeah.
Then the Stormy Daniels situation.
They like leaking stuff. They like leaking. Let it all out.
Yes. Kids in cages, that whole thing where
that
was not Trump. It was right. Like the kids, and they were showing the migrants in the cage, and it was from 2014. That had nothing to do with Trump. So, but if they said it, people believed it, and that's all they cared about. They just cared to just get it out.
Yeah.
Well, let it all out.
Yeah. Well, speaking of misinformation and lies, we move on to Whoopi Goldberg. So she has been in the news, engulfed in the news recently for pretty much trying to close down a bakery in Staten Island, New York. So we had the video. It was her birthday, I believe, recently. And she took to the airwaves to defame a family business in Staten Island, New York. I want you guys to take a look at this. This is her talking about what she claims occurred in the process of getting cupcakes for her birthday for the show. This is clip 6.
Welcome back. My birthday dessert today was one of my mom's favorites from when she was a kid. And she talked about these all the time. They're called Charlotte Russe. And it's a sponge cake with whipped cream and a cherry on top. Now, I should tell you, Charlotte Russe has no political leanings. And the place that made these refused to make them for me.
Oh, really?
Yes.
What? Oh,
No. Let me explain. They said that their ovens had gone down, all kinds of stuff, but folks went and got them anyway, which is why I'm not telling you who made them. But it's can't be because I'm a woman, but perhaps they did not like my politics. Yeah. But that's okay, because you know what? Listen. This is my mother's celebration. Yeah, pick these up and celebrate with me and my mom. Thank you, everyone, for celebrating my birthday today. I want you all to have a great day. Take a little time to enjoy the view and never let folks get you down. Yeah.
All right. So that's her. And you heard what she said. She said they refused to make the cupcakes for her, but folks got them anyway. Well, that was not the full story. So apparently what they said was they were unable to make the cupcakes when Whoopi called for them because they were having issues with their boiler. And they didn't know at the time when she called, they didn't know when the boiler was going to come back up, when it came back up, if they were going to have time to make a large batch of cupcakes. So they told her they couldn't fulfill the order at the time. Here's them with a news conference talking about actually what transpired. This is clip number 3. And we have that coming up. Yeah, they did a news conference because this woman has gotten all kinds of calls.
Staten Island Bureau President is speaking. Let's watch.
And I think the bottom line here is after we're going to call up Jill, who has had to endure something that she shouldn't have to endure. These people are up at 3 or 4 o'clock every morning. The sacrifices they've made, the holidays they've missed with their families. To make Staten Island better, they have sacrificed for 145 years. Rutherford B. Hayes was the president of the United States, for God's sakes. And they're still here and they're still strong and they're not going anywhere despite what other people on television have to say. And frankly, the people who defame the Holterman family should apologize to the Holterman family for making stuff up to suit their needs. Not everybody wakes up every day and thinks about politics. A good business person doesn't care about anybody's politics. So with that, I'd like to call up Jill Holterman Bowers. She deserves 110% support. Jill, come on.
It's a community that I have to tell you, I'm so overwhelmed by the support between finding out yesterday this even happened, getting phone calls, and then people coming in, people from all over just supporting us in every way. We had phone calls yesterday from Alabama. Guy says, I'm going to give you $50, send it to a school, send them donuts, send them cupcakes. The support has been so overwhelming, and I know how hard my family has worked to keep this business alive. And I wish my father was here today to see this. He would never believe it. My bakers come in 2 or 3 in the morning just to have donuts and rolls for everybody to come in and say, we have the best rolls ever. And you know what? It took my whole family. It takes everybody, the community that comes every day to see us. We have this everyday conversation with everybody. How's the family? How's this? This is what makes Holtermans. It's the community. It's my fellow everything that come out and us giving back to the community that makes this go round. And if it wasn't for you and Staten Island to make this work, we still wouldn't be here today.
Wow.
So,
wow. So again, so that was the owner of Holterman. So just to give you guys background, they denied Goldberg's claim that she was discriminated against because of her politics, and that the reason why the bakery was unable to fulfill the order was due to mechanical issues with the bakery's boiler, which was on the fritz that day. She said she told Whoopi, I can't do it right now. We have so many things going on with our boiler because the building is from 1930. So when she called, I had no idea if we could bake everything at that time. This is what she's saying. So she's saying this what Whoopi said was not true. Shelly, what is your thoughts on this issue? Well, before I get your thoughts, I want to the chat. Guys, do you believe Whoopi or do you believe the Holtermans? If you could comment in the chat. Whoopi, or I believe Whoopi, or I believe the Holtermans. And also, do you think Whoopi owes them an apology? Shelly.
Okay. Absolutely not. I don't. I'm actually on both sides. I think there's a little bit of both. I don't think Whoopi Goldberg lied. I think she gave her opinion. I don't know if it was about politics or not, but I do know that during the 2 weeks, from what I read, let me say that, from what I read, during the 2 weeks when she initially placed that order, their boiler was fixed and they had other orders because the bakery did not close down. So just from a good business perspective, if Whoopi Goldberg or whomever, if I get orders from these people all the time, the boiler was not expected to be closed or offline for 2 weeks. There were other items in the bakery still kept going. The fact that someone else did pick up the items for Whoopi with no problem, I would have at least called back and say, you know what, Whoopi, the boiler is fixed today. Can I take that order for you? I think this is just a matter of maybe a missed business opportunity. And of course, Whoopi has a platform. To her credit, Whoopi
wait a minute.
That's right.
So do you think the bakery was lying?
No, I said it was a mismanagement or a missed business opportunity. I think the boiler was down, but when someone calls you 2 weeks ahead of time to put an order in, I don't think you just flat out say, no, I can't do it. And then the boiler gets fixed and you're still putting out orders. I think it just didn't look right.
No, it was a business. I mean, it could have been easily a business, missed business opportunity. Businesses do that
But
all the time.
I'm not gonna automatically say Whoopi was wrong or whatever just because I don't really care for Whoopi herself. I'm not gonna do that.
Well, that kind of doesn't make sense because Whoopi said that she was discriminated against based on her politics.
That's what she said. That's how she felt. I didn't say that. I didn't say that was the case. I don't think that's the case. But that's how she felt. But my point is that I'm not going to automatically say, "Oh, Whoopi's wrong because she's on The View and I don't care for them," which I don't. But that's not going to be my automatic go-to.
I see. Now, Yana, let me ask you this before you give your response. So, was it right for this woman, Whoopi, to go on a national program and assume that she was discriminated against based on her politics when that, whether she thought that or not, she knows she has a national program. Was that okay for her to say, to do, when that she didn't know that was the case?
No, and even on her program, she said they probably do not like my politics.
Yeah.
So it's not anything that she knows for sure.
No, why jump to
Absolutely not. So that's actually, I mean, that's like libel almost. Like she basically said these people do not do business with certain people because of their politics, when she has absolutely zero evidence. And she even said they probably don't like my politics. Like she thinks she's so important and that a business, that it's a local business in Staten Island is gonna like pass on an order because of someone's politics.
Yeah,
like
I don't know about politics either, but
and also I don't like what Shelley was saying. We don't know what exactly how it transpired. We don't know. Whoopi is not telling the whole story, how it went down. Maybe someone called and they first said, sorry, we can't do it. And then immediately they had someone else, maybe like a day later or whatever. They had someone else.
A day later. It was not the same day. It was not a day later. The week of then of the order. But the bottom line here is this is what they do. These people are so self-centered. They're so narcissistic. They're always looking for a way to make something political. It's exactly as the gentleman stated in the press conference.
Right.
Everyone is not thinking political. Everyone is not.
It's ridiculous that you would think that a business would do that to themselves. That's ridiculous. And what it made me think that, okay, thank God that Whoopi doesn't have the the real power, because this is something that like a tyrannical leader would do. For example, imagine like someone didn't make cupcakes for like Kim Jong-un. You know what happens to that person? They die. Or they get sent to a labor camp because, and just off of assumption. Same with like Stalin. When Stalin was in power, people would be sent to a camp or would be executed off of an assumption that someone did not agree with Stalin and his politics. And this because they just assume, because I don't know, you looked at them wrong. And this is what someone like Whoopi would do if she was in real power. She would literally send people to a gulag because she assumes that probably they don't like her politics.
With no evidence, zero.
Yeah,
zero
but I will say this to Whoopi's credit. She did not mention the name of the company. She said that she did not mention the name of the bakery. And again, I think it was a missed opportunity, miscommunication. Whoopi, whatever her opinion is about the politics, I don't believe it was anything like that, but that's her opinion. Again, I don't know many companies, if you call them for whatever service they provide. Companies can have, of course, boilers can go out, stoves, I get it. But I just don't know any company, at least that I have ever dealt with, that says, oh, I can't take your order. And for 2 weeks, I don't I don't know why. I think it was a business mistake. For 2 weeks,
they're going to any mom and pop black owned business.
Well, she still was selling cakes. She still was selling them.
Yes, what happened? She explained in the interview that when the exact time that Whoopi Goldberg called, they were in chaos. The boiler was not working.
I get that.
So you running over. They have a small team, a small staff. They are a small business. And so, yes, it was a miss. I can agree with you there. She didn't call back. It was a missed opportunity. And Whoopi Goldberg knew exactly what she was doing. Okay. I'm not going to sit here and think for 1 minute she didn't think somebody was going to find out where those cupcakes came from. Okay. She knew exactly what she was doing. And she owes them an apology. She owes them an apology because she was, what they say, loud and wrong. She was loud and wrong, and she should never have assumed that with no information. She should have never assumed it. So that's just my take on it. But what's the chat? What are you guys thinking in the chat? I see you guys going off in the chat. She was loud and wrong, and she needs to be, I hope they have some type of case against her. I do.
I don't think they're gonna go through.
God always turns stuff around, because as we can see, this bakery got national press. They got national press because of this.
That's probably what they'll get.
People have come to their aid, and once again, the View is caught in a lie. They just sit there. I'm sorry. I don't even want to go off. They just lie. They lie. All right. I want to move on here next to MSNBC. I really hope Trump sues these people. I hope he gets every penny from these news organizations for their continued lies on this man. And they're really going crazy about this RFKJ appointment. Take a look at this. This clip one. In clip one, RFKJ, MSNBC is shaking in their boots about RFK appointment.
Dr. Patel, your first reaction. Oh my God. I mean, those of us who have spent our lifetime, kind of decades working in and around in HHS, I'm not kidding, Nicole, my texts are flying off the chain, both Democrats and Republicans saying, this can't be real. Someone must have gotten this wrong. This can't be possible. And now the second underlying chain, there's some silver linings. The second thought I had is, he can't get confirmed, can he? But I'm just listening to you talk about the DNI and all these other roles that require some sort of White House or confirmation or some combination. And here we are. It is really hard to believe. There are career staff texting me saying this was just the push they needed to try to get out. They were already on the fence and worried. We're not just going to see this incredible kind of integration of ideology that has no science behind it. But Nicole, we're going to see probably the best of the best career staff leaving these agencies potentially hollow that he would oversee.
Wow. So again, there was no science behind 6 feet between people. And when you guys made lines in the grocery stores on the floors and things, 6 feet distance between people. That was no science. 5 feet, 4 feet. There is no science that backed up that we had to be 6 feet apart. None. Zero. There's no science around masking babies and toddlers. There's no science there, but you did it. You did it. And you're going to pay, because when this man gets confirmed, he's going to clean house. Again, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. leading the HHS would give him authority over every federal health agency, granting him the power to clean up these corrupt institutions that he vowed that he would do. Shelley, what are your thoughts on that exchange?
Bring it on. I mean, again, these are the people who they love their titles. They are so in love with themselves and their titles and all of their alphabets behind their names and acronyms. They are dangerous. Many of them, I think so. I think they're dangerous in the sense that they believe that their expertise allows them to run roughshod over everyone else's life, because when they put out this particular policy or this edict, they believe that they, whoever they are with all of these titles and positions, again, that, oh, they have the authority to do that, that people are no longer able, or nor should they be allowed to even think for themselves. How dare you even disagree with them? I mean, you know, what, you're not staying in your lane. And again, I think this goes to the media helping them, helping to elevate them to these pedestals that they really don't belong on. It goes to partly the public not necessarily being engaged for whatever reason, so that we're not pushing back enough. And to some degree, we have allowed them to say, oh, just because you're in that, you have that authority, you can run over our lives. You take control. You tell me what to do, so to speak. No, it doesn't work like that. It really doesn't. And I think they have done more damage. And I'll say they've done more damage, at least since I would say the 60s for the most part, up till this time period in American history. Up to this time period, it was not like that. We did not have this much constitutional abuse from our agencies. But I was going to say again, since the 60s, things have just gone haywire.
Yeah, absolutely. Before I get you on here, Yana, I want to acknowledge our super chatters here. Paul Kenny says, at Be More Conservatives is upset. Go, girl. Yeah, I am, because this runs deep, especially within the Black community. You know, you have these Democrats talking about, oh, everything hurts the Black community. Well, many in the Black community suffer from various chronic diseases due to what they eat. And a lot of these, especially one of the things that I'm a huge advocate against is the food coloring they put in a lot of food. Studies have shown this directly impacts boys. Artificial coloring in food, it causes them to be hyperactive and all sorts of things. And they continue to use it. So I'm excited about RFK. Ren Button with the $10 super chat. All right, says they didn't say that they can't take her order. They said that they can't guarantee the order, that they wouldn't want to promise and not deliver. Yeah. All right, Ren is talking about
the bakery. Again, the bakery still stayed open. They were still putting out items.
Paul Kenny with the $5 super chat says, how that show remains on the air is beyond my level of understanding. Yes, indeed, Paul. Yana, what are your thoughts here on that exchange with regarding RFK?
These people, the so-called health experts, they should not even be speaking. We have a country that has an epidemic in obesity, in diabetes, mental health issues, cancer, infertility. People are dealing with all sorts of health issues. Oh, ADHD with children, which was not the case like 50 or so years ago. And why are they speaking like they know what they're talking about? They're having a crisis. So we're having a crisis. So obviously, whoever is in charge of health, they haven't been doing things right. And it's because of the food and the chemicals and the hormones, the way that the animals, whatever they're pumping the animals and the chickens with. Mm-hmm. So why not investigate where it's coming from? And this whole idea, it's all in your genetics. That's ridiculous. Everyone has something in their genetics, but it's the lifestyle that makes you oftentimes bring that out. And these people, they're not scientists. It's more like they have a religion, because if they were scientists, they would be welcoming other perspectives, other experts. Let's brainstorm together. That's what scientists should be doing, not discarding someone else's opinion, or not just opinion, or factual information that they have found through research, just discarding it and not worry about just to keep their position.
Yeah, Absolutely. I am so excited about these people, the new appointees and Trump getting into office. I am so excited. I hope he busts that whole thing wide open. I still would like Fauci to respond and get, you know, to get him in trouble about what he did during the pandemic. I want him to be accountable, held accountable for all the things that all the misinformation and lies that he pushed throughout the pandemic. The three-letter agency, FBI, you know, breaking news out recently. You guys remember that story about on J6, the guy who was carrying the pipe bombs? And the FBI couldn't distinguish, or they didn't know who it was. And people are saying they saw this man leave a basket or a suitcase near the Capitol, and it kind of just went out of the news. Mm-hmm. Well, this week, they have seemed to have caught the FBI lying in new developments that blow up this J6 pipe bomb scandal. So Congress is subpoenaing all of this stuff. Cellular carriers have told Congress they possess intact phone usage data from the vicinity where 2 pipe bombs were planted during J6. Disputing FBI testimony that agents couldn't identify a suspect. This is according to Just the News. So these revelations from Representative Barry Loudermilk from Georgia, the chairman of the House Administration Oversight Subcommittee. So again, this is what we're talking about. You know, why can't the FBI, with so much evidence and manpower, identify the suspect who planted these explosives? There's a lot going on here. We need to get to the truth.
Right.
And this is what we do here.
And instead, they were going after grandmas.
Right.
Yeah. Again, this is singing my song for decades, I'll say. When I talk about the government having too much power, some of these agencies, you know, I used to get pushback, probably get less now, but I used to get pushback. Oh, you just don't want somebody to tell you what to do. You're an authoritarian, you're not authoritarian, you're whatever, all this stuff they would say. And from the beginning, or the point of it is that many of these things are extra constitutional. They're not constitutional. And just because someone is in a position does not mean you get to abuse the rights of the people. That's pretty much my whole stance. That's number one. Back to what's his name? RFK, HHS. Someone put in the chat that I think he's over FEMA. I don't think so. I think FEMA is under the Department of Homeland Security. And I'm not sure if RFK would be over that too. I'm not sure. I'm not clear on that. However, the fact that RFK, if he comes in and cleans up, one of the things that needs to be looked into is the connection between, again, media or advertisements, if you will, and the pharmaceutical company. They have huge leverage and amount of power because all of their advertising dollars and their connections they have with the HHS directors, Fauci, if you want to talk about Fauci, what do they call it? Kickbacks, if you will, all of these contracts that they make. This is a huge web. It's a huge web of information that needs to be busted up.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, as you mentioned, Shelley, about the overreach that we are seeing within the government agencies. I mean, we saw recently, I believe it was the Polymarket CEO. He was the guy that predicted Trump's win early on. I think he was the first to predict it. FBI raided his home a few weeks ago. Took all of his materials and things just because he accurately predicted that Trump had won the election. New York Post reported on it. I think his name is Shane Copeland, was woken up at 6 a.m. Eastern time in his New York City apartment by U.S. law enforcement officials who demanded he hand over his phone and electronics. I don't understand why they did it. Well, we know why, because he, predicted that Trump would win the election. But there's a lot going on with this case that we'll continue to follow. But Polymarket doesn't allow trading in the U.S. though bettors can bypass the ban by accessing the site through VPN. And the DOJ is probing the company for allegedly accepting trades from US-based users. So a lot going on there. This is all according to New York Post. But it's just, again, as you mentioned, I mean, they bust open his home and take all of his electronics for this? It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we have additional super chatters here. I want to acknowledge our super chatters. Let's see here. All right, Laura Matisse with the $5 super chat. And Laura is a member of our Freedom Seekers Club. So this is our club here. Membership club, yes, on YouTube, where we give out members only content. Also, you get emojis that you can respond to in the chat, and tons of other perks. So definitely, guys, it's a great way to support us. Join our memberships club. You get your stuff shouted out here on the show also. So she says Trump is really trying to get it right, and I truly believe that he genuinely cares, but still want to demean him. Yeah, they still do. You're right, Laura. Tijuana Border Jumper with the $5 super chat says, thanks, ladies, again for being brave and making America great again. Yes, indeed. We're MAGA here. We are. If you all think, be careful if you've landed on the wrong page, because this is MAGA City right here. So, well, I would say I'm probably more Christian conservative. But shout out in the chat. What are you guys? Who do we have here? I know I saw a bunch of mama bears, a bunch of MAGA. Do we have any 2A patriots in the chat? If you are 2A patriot, comment 2A in the chat, because I would love to hear from you. All right. So moving right along here. Let me see here. I want to talk about Jillian Michaels. So I know we were talking about RFK again being nominated to oversee the health department in HHS. Jillian Michaels, who I don't believe is conservative, was actually taking up for him on Fox News. In this next clip, this is clip 5. Take a look. She went to bat for him.
If you live a simple, clean lifestyle, then they're not going to make as much money. And they're not going to have as much power in Washington and throughout the rest of the country. It's really about power, isn't it?
Well, it's about power and raw economic incentive. And as much as we can suggest that it's simple, it's not easy, and it's not easy by design. And in fact, it's called structural violence. And it's this collaboration of this toxic quartet, if you will, of the way big farming proliferates these cheap, toxic calories. Big food picks up those calories, and they tinker with it a bit more with their food scientists to make it more addictive, to make it omnipresent. Then Big Pharma catches us on the other side and starts treating all of our sicknesses with all their diseases. And we won't even touch on big insurance and how they play a role, because there isn't enough time. But the bottom line is, look at the world. It's this simple. Infertility, highest ever. Early onset cancer diagnosis up 79% over the last 3 decades. 74% of adults in America are overweight and obese. We need change. We need it now. What they're doing isn't working, and it's not working on purpose because it's profitable for the very few. And it's bankrupting Americans. It's the number one cause of bankruptcy is a health-related condition, and it's killing them. If you're afraid of RFK, you've lost your mind. Take a back seat. Let the professionals in this space handle it, and thank God when it starts improving. Period.
All right. All right. Well, first things first, we have to talk about RFK's body. Oh, he has my vote just by looking at how healthy he is. I mean, the man's got biceps, he's got triceps, he's got pecs. I mean, this man's not a young pup.
No,
and he's doing pull-ups and push-ups.
He looks great.
Yeah, he looks
well. So speaking of that, so did Mike Tyson look good this weekend at that fight for 58. I mean, he looked good. I'm talking about he looked good. He looked good.
I mean, he wasn't even ripped like RFK. I mean, good.
He's pretty ripped, but I mean, I think RFK is a little bit older than Mike, but they look good. Yeah, he does look good. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Well, whatever he's eating, every American needs to eat it. Look at that.
I'm not going to touch the bar until I see it stop for more than a second. Let's go.
Wow. Oh.
Six. Run it.
Wow.
Let's go. Up.
Wow, that's something that's pretty nice. I mean,
And that is someone that should be leading an agency, like the health agency. Like that is a good example for everyone. And I
lead me.
Yes, exactly. And I just hope that everything that Trump has in mind works out, because these people are dangerous, the ones that are against him. And they have, they're plotting things, and it's the deep state that he could not fight the first time around. They went after him. So I hope that this time around there's a better success.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, Mike Tyson, that was
he looks good.
sad.
He looks good.
And I couldn't see anything but the Che Guevara and the Angela Davis and the Mao on his body. Like, come on.
He still looks good.
Walking communist propaganda. So,
he still looks good.
I didn't see all that.
I don't know. I know he got a lot of tattoos. I don't know what they are, but he still looks
it
good.
Literally says Mao on his shoulder.
But he voted for Trump. He was he supported
I
Trump.
don't know. I mean, I don't know who he voted for. I just know he looked good for his age.
Yeah, he looks good for his age. I wasn't saying he doesn't look good. What I was saying was I wish he hadn't fought Jake Paul.
I know. It was stupid.
It was so sad.
Yeah. But I want to acknowledge our super chatters here. So let's see here. We have NAR USA says, we all know they are all also against RFK. He knows who was involved in his father's and uncle's murder. Start making deals. Arrest incoming. Thank you. With the $5 super chat. Sonia Scrapbook with a $3 super chat says biceps, triceps, and all kind of seps. I know. We need to call him Zaddy. I mean, he's not an artist. He's Zaddy.
Ready, step, go.
Laura Matisse with the $5 super chat says, I'm excited for the new administration. There is some kind of excited in the air. I really hope they leave him alone. I do too.
Yeah, it is excitement in the air.
Yeah, it is. It really is. What's up, guys? We are the ladies of pop and politics, and guess what? We have merchandise. We got merch. Check it out. We have a website, www.popandpoliticslive, where you guys can pick up the latest merchandise that we have here. Here's something I use this every morning for my cup of tea. It's a Pop and Politics mug. Yeah, I drink every morning tea. Yeah. And I love it. So definitely check it out. We've got some cute shirts on there. Shelly, you have a shirt there that you love, right? Yes. Cute shirt. And so definitely check it out. Again, www.popandpoliticslive.com. Appreciate the support. All right.
Go there now.
Yes.
There you go.
Yes. Shelly. That is our merch. Guys, you've been buying it. We've gotten tons of orders. I guess because of the holidays coming up. We thank you so much. People have gotten our mugs. People have gotten the hoodies, the tees. If you haven't gotten them, go on and check out that video that we just showed. We've gotten tons of new stuff on the website now, so it doesn't encompass in many of the new items we have. So definitely check up our merch store. It's a great way to support us, and we've got cool stuff on there. So thank you guys so much for those who have already.
Thank you all. Yeah, I want to respond. Somebody put a comment. I don't know who about the healthy food is expensive. Something to that. I don't know who said it. Let me say this. I am not criticizing you for saying that. I'm not criticizing anyone's budget. But let me just say this. On the whole, we as consumers, we do get to choose what we spend our money on and how we spend our money. And I know that over time, if we make, I'm going to say, healthier, better choices, sometimes it is more expensive. I'm not going to deny that. But typically speaking, if we buy the more healthier stuff, then we won't waste the money on the non-healthy. So then we still will have a net gain, if you will, of health and a little bit money saved because we're not spending it on junk. Again, I'm not saying that to tell you what your budget is, how you spend your money. I'm just making a broad example, if you will.
Right. Like, I don't know what people mean actually when they say healthier food is expensive. I don't know what that means. Because if you buy ingredients, you don't have to have, fancy meals. You just buy ingredients to make your own food at home. It is not expensive. What's going to be expensive is if you buy stuff out, like if you buy prepared food. So obviously, a healthier prepared food from a better restaurant is going to cost more than McDonald's, than some sort of junk. But if you make your own food, you don't need to make anything fancy. Like, you can have rice and beans. That's healthy, okay? So, and it's not expensive. I mean, I grew up in the time in the 90s in Russia when we barely had ingredients to buy. And we didn't have fruits and vegetables in the winter time because it was out of season. So what did my grandmother do? She would shred carrot and add a little bit of sugar, and that's what I would have as for the vitamins. So it's ridiculous when people say healthy food is expensive. Because it's not just about adding good food, it's also removing the food that you shouldn't be eating. That's what makes you healthy too.
Yeah, and I think it's even deeper than that, because what RFK Jr. Is seeing, and a lot of these people are seeing, because I think it was even some movement against Kellogg's, is that in America, the food is different than the food outside of, in the Caribbean or in Europe. They are actually adding bad stuff to our food. The ketchup that we have here in a local store is not the same Heinz ketchup you see overseas. They have high fructose corn syrup in the regular ketchup here, and all sorts of additives that you can go just to somewhere else and you look at the back and it's just tomatoes. It's tomato sauce. So that's what people are talking about as well. I mean, the stuff that they add to our food, I guess, to mass produce it, is detrimental to our health.
It's cheaper. I mean, there's certain ingredients are cheaper, certain colorings are cheaper than others for them to make. And so you really got to look at the labels. And if it has a whole bunch of ingredients, if it's like this long, then you shouldn't be buying that product.
Well, that's the thing. In order to get, you would have to buy organic. I mean, a ketchup, for instance, in order to get it without all the extra stuff, it's organic and it's going to be more.
Exactly. That's what I think is some of healthier stuff is more. Yes.
You go overseas, that stuff is just the base is without all of that extra stuff. Not only that, but they're talking about, they're finding cadavers and people after they've passed on and they go through their bodies. We have so much plastic in the microplastics from all of this stuff that we carry in plastics and things. I mean, the list goes on. We have so much
preservatives.
All that food that has people watch that I think it was the Make America Healthy Summit. They just had a few weeks ago. It was a congressional hearing, if I'm not mistaken, and but you have to Google it, YouTube it, or whatever. But it's you can watch it. It's pretty interesting. They had, and like you're saying, the colorings. It's a lot of things. Our food system, if you will, our food chain, at least here in America, if not everywhere, it involves more than what's just grown and what's eaten. It also involves, again, the pharmaceutical companies, the mass marketing, the economics. So all of these things, politics, all of these things play into from growing it to production, to manufacturing, to getting on our plate. So all of these parts, and we all have a part to play, certainly to hold our experts, if you will, accountable at every step of the way.
I think the biggest issue about food is that people don't cook anymore.
That might be true.
Everybody's, wants to buy everything prepackaged, even, cereal. Cereal is something that is made somewhere else. Just buy oatmeal and eat it. Buy eggs, eat the eggs.
Well, years ago, before what's his name? Bruce Jenner. When he was Bruce Jenner, he was on the Wheaties box, and Wheaties was just Wheaties.
Yeah. Guys, I want to get your comments in the chat. If you support healthy food initiatives, hit that like button and comment about some of the things you do to keep a healthier lifestyle. I mean, I get it. I mean, again, it's just the way, speaking of lifestyle, many of our homes, we have, single parent households. And so, people are, working more. People don't have time to cook like, many of our grandparents and our grandparents. So it's a
lifestyle.
thing.
It's a lifestyle
Exactly.
that everyone should address every part of it. That's what holistic really means. When you holistically look at your lifestyle and you say, okay, what should I change? Maybe a wife should work less outside of the home so she can cook for her kids and they can eat healthier.
Yeah. I totally agree there. All right. I think I do have a super chat here. Let me see here. Oh, yes, I do have one. Laura Matisse. All right, says, you ladies are a joy to watch. Thank you so much, Laura. We certainly appreciate you guys. We appreciate you all for hanging in there with us on a late 10 p.m. Well, it's 11 now. Saturday Night Live. We had to pop on here and just bring you some of the latest in news and hot topics. We got one last topic to touch on, and that's Matt Gaetz. So Matt Gaetz's appointment, or nominee, I should say, from Trump has been a huge issue. It's been all over the mainstream media. They are going wild about this issue, this appointment or nominee, and not just on the left, but on the right too. There's some on the right that are against his nomination, but Candace Owens is supporting him. And she just put out a recent clip. This is clip 4, talking about why she supports Matt Gaetz for I think he's Attorney General. Take a look.
They tried to paint Matt Gaetz like a complete crazy person. You can imagine, remember, the adults are back in charge, right? That this was getting all of the coverage. This Trump ally, he's out here, he's doing this with a 17-year-old girl. And he fought through this. And it sounded like a conspiracy, right? To say that the Department of Justice is using former employees and liaising to try to siphon $25 million from your dad. But Matt Gaetz alleged that the local FBI instructed his dad to wear a wire to record the conversation with the person that was trying to extort them. And guess what? It turned out that Matt Gaetz was telling the truth. In August of 2022, so a little over a year and a half later, Stephen Alford was sentenced to 5 years in prison for a scheme to extort $25 million from the Gaetz family. So you can just imagine the Department of Justice's surprise. Oh my gosh, you're going to nominate now? He's in charge of the Department of Justice? You're going to make him the U.S. Attorney General? I love it. I love it. Okay. He absolutely must be confirmed. And they're freaking out, and they're being honest about why they're freaking out. They're like, well, then he's going to have access to the files of when we were investigating him. And like, by the way, we didn't find anything, so it's not a big deal, but we don't want to, this is an insane pick. Why on earth would they allow him in? Yeah. Because you realize that he is someone who you are not going to be able to flip into one of your allies because you attempted to ruin his life and to ruin his reputation. And these are exactly the kinds of picks that we mean. I need someone who has a chip on their shoulder about the DOJ.
All right. So I want to get your ladies' thoughts on this pick. I know we talked about it a little bit previously, but what do you think, Shelley? What do you think about what Candace said?
I think what Candace said, but I haven't thought, like we talked about the other day, I am for Matt Gaetz. I want someone who is, I'm going to say rabid in a good sense, who has the energy, the focus. I think he's going to be laser focused, cleaning up that place, including the FBI under the which is under the DOJ. I don't think that these charges that he had against him, he even refuted them, disputed them, I think on the episode with Tucker Carlson. Again, I'm of the mindset just because somebody accuses you of something does not mean you're automatically guilty. I don't care what it is, whatever. Nevertheless, these charges have not come to fore. There is I think they're under closed case or whatever under the House. I don't know if they're going to release the findings or whatever, but he has not been charged. If I'm not mistaken, the case has been dropped or the ethics charges have been dropped, the investigation. I think he is the right person for that head of the DOJ. I do.
Yeah. I want to get your thoughts. I mean, the Washington Examiner reports Trump has set high expectations for the Attorney General after his last two, Jeff Sessions and Bill Barr, fell out of good graces with him over the Trump-Russia collusion. Trump's new vision for the DOJ, he has vowed to seek retribution against those who have waged legal fights against him. He campaigned on the promises that he would deport millions of immigrants who crossed into the country illegally, fight diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives, and carry out a large-scale pardon operation for January 6, 2021 defendants. So that's what Washington Examiner is reporting. What are your thoughts on what Candace Owens said? Have you heard anything? She's saying that those charges against him, it was kind of the FBI and the DOJ colluded to do this, to bring out these charges.
Well, I can see that they would do that. And I don't know what Matt Gaetz did. I don't know what, I mean, I know about the charges. There's something about underage women and things like that, but we do not know the information and we do not know whether he did or didn't. So it doesn't matter. Like, I don't care about that. And it doesn't seem like anything, from what I read, it doesn't seem like anything that serious anyway, just from my opinion. And so what Trump is doing, and it's amazing, he's getting all his friends, his allies, to be to work for him. And that's exactly what a leader of a country should be doing. And I hope it works for him, because just like Candace said, we need someone who has this chip on his shoulder, that he's not going to collude with whoever is in power right now, the deep state. So I can see why Trump is doing it.
Yeah. I see we have some new chatters and new people in the chat. Please like, share, and subscribe to this broadcast. That does help to amplify our voice here on YouTube. We want to amplify our voice and decrease voices like MSNBC and The View and things. So certainly appreciate your support. Back to Gaetz. As you ladies have mentioned, in September 2022, after more than 2 years of investigating him, prosecutors recommended that no charges be filed against the Florida congressman. The Washington Post reported at the time that prosecutors had concerns about credibility of two key witnesses and worried that they wouldn't be able to secure a conviction against Gaetz if they brought charges. 5 months later, in February 2023, the department formally closed the investigation. So once again, we are seeing a weaponization of the institutions within government here. And so, frankly, folks, it's Trump's turn. Now, I don't think he would do something like they've done, with going after people for trumped up charges. But the people that did these things, Fauci, the DOJ going after parents who were concerned about the things going on at the PTA and the school board meetings, going after Gaetz, all of this stuff. I want to know why they did it, how they did it, and they need to take responsibility. They need to be held accountable if they did these things and there was nothing there to do it for. It was no justice there. So,
well, we know what we largely know why they did it. We certainly know how they did it. The how is probably the easiest part already. They were in power. They had access to all kinds of stuff about people's lives, files, things like that. They had the positions. They had the quote unquote, the authority. People love this idea of blind authority because you sit in a position. No, I mean, so that's the easy part. The how is easy. They ran roughshod over the Constitution and they literally ignored Americans, their rights to due process, to all these other things. They had the power, they had the purse. They can get money, they get taxes from us up the yin yang. So they have this what do you call it? Unfeathered access to money to keep these cases going, to ruin people's lives with almost no recourse. Do people get their lives back? No. Do they get their reputation back? No. Do they get their homes and family and friends that they've lost back? Largely no. They're destitute, and these people get to go on up the chain. They get promoted, they get moved around. That needs to stop.
Wow. Yeah. So I'm here for it all. Let the chips fall where they may. Let Gaetz, RFK, Tulsi Gabbard, let them loose. Let them loose.
Even Kristi Noem, let her out. Let the dogs out. Don't give her no dogs. But even Kristi Noem.
Yeah. I mean, let them loose. So we will continue to follow it prayerfully that, they are able to get confirmed. Breaking news out in California, the 45th congressional seat is now set to flip from Republican to Democrat after thousands of new ballots pour in. California is still counting ballots, folks.
Oh wow! Again, you still count ballots. They just happen to find ballots. I mean, it never fails. So
yeah, it is. So all right, thank you guys so much. Want to acknowledge our super chatters here. Thomas Duvalis says, "Thank you, ladies. Love your program. I'm an American in Japan."
Ooh, thank you.
Konnichiwa.
He's American.
Well, I know, but he's in Japan. So thank you so much.
Arigato.
Arigato.
Yes, I wonder where he is. I have a friend in Osaka. I visited there. So that's wonderful.
All right.
Thank you for watching us.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. All right, folks. So final thoughts here, ladies. I want to start off with you, Yana. It was so good to have you back tonight. Final thoughts for the viewers.
It's so good to be here. I'm so excited. I mean, I've been having so much more energy since the election. I mean, I'm really at the same time like, oh my gosh, it's like too good to be true. I'm like, I hope everything goes smoothly, and we just have to stay together and be strong and keep praying and keep our faith, because I think that's what did it. So I think just keep being strong and praise the Lord.
All right, Shelly. Final thoughts for our viewers.
You know what? I don't have any final thoughts or nothing profound. I'll say I'm just going to stay what I typically say. Stand up, show up, strap up, and speak up.
All right, folks. Thank you guys so much for watching with us tonight. We will be back on Monday to break down all of the Sunday shows and news that comes out. So definitely look out for us Monday night at 9 p.m. We will be back with you all with the latest in hot topics and entertainment. All right. Again, thank you guys so much. Until next time, count your blessings and live a life of purpose. Good night.